scramble here in the second half, I think you're going to see them try and get that ball right back. And that's something, Dick, that's something they have done very effectively this year, is come out and attack the other team defensively and establish something offensively. Certainly through that 5-game winning streak, they were dominant in that way. They did not do that in the first game we saw against the Los Angeles Raiders. We're not able to do it last week in that loss in New England.
Pat Leahy, we haven't seen him the entire day. He kicks it off high and deep. Scansey, 10, 20, and down at the 23, and he had a little daylight to the far side. Marion Barber, 31, tripped him up after a 25-yard return. Here comes Craig and the Seahawks, and let's check the runners with him. He's got Randall Morris, number 43. Kurt Warner, in case you weren't with us at the start, was injured early in the game. 3.5 minutes into the game, an ankle injury, and Warner carried the ball only 3 times in the first half. Quarterback comparison, 83% for Craig, but he didn't throw the ball all that much, 5 for 6. Randall Morris. Well, they ran left successfully in the first half, and that's what they try again. But Russell Carter, 27, number 1 pick of the Jets a year ago out of SMU, and he can hit.
Just looking down to the field, you see Gail Gilbert, the backup quarterback. He's standing in front of Chick Harris, between Chick Harris and the opposing sideline. Harris is signaling the plays in offensively, and what they try and do is shield that signal from the opposing sideline.
2nd and 11. Fumble. Who's got it? Andre Hardy playing for the injured David Hughes in this all-new Seattle backfield tandem of Morris and Hardy. And Hardy able to clutch on to that precious pumpkin. Gastineau made the hit.
Let's think for a second about the instructions that this defense has gotten from Bud Carson. He knows how important it is to go in and stop Seattle right in this first drive. Get that football back. 2 big plays by the defense. You kind of sense their emotional level. Let's see if they can sustain it.
Incomplete, intended for Byron Franklin or Byron Walker. Walker on the far sidelines, and the Jets do a good job defensively.
Bobby Jackson not in his usual position on the far side. Davlin Mullen over there. We saw Jackson leave the ball game earlier, apparently a slight leg injury. Of course, they're going after the new face over there, but Mullen did a good job. Finzer has to kick it away.
Kirk Springs at the other end as Finzer will punt for the 2nd time today. 37 yards on his only other kick. Springs from Miami of Ohio.
Shot a good kick.
At the 44, 50, and that'll be it. But the Jets down 14-0. Get the ball for the first time offensively at the 50-yard line. John Kaiser made the tackle.
A 2-pronged conversation in the Jets locker room. Let's go back, take the football away, and then let's do something with it. They have excellent field position just outside the 50-yard line. O'Brien on the field. Let's see if they can do, if the offense can do its share of the job now.
35-yard punt by Finzer, 6 yards on the return. O'Brien with Tony Page at fullback, Freeman McNeil, 86 yards rushing in the first half at tailback. Page, not quite a yard into the grasp of Fred Young, the 2nd-year linebacker from New Mexico State, and he has stardom written all over his play.
We've had a chance to look quite a bit at Joe Klecko, who plays the nose tackle for the New York Jets. Nose tackle for the Seattle Seahawks is Joe Nash. And Nash, you might remember, selected to the Pro Bowl ahead of Klecko last year. Does a good job here, but Joe Fields, wily old center, good center, keeps his feet moving, ends up knocking Nash to the ground, getting him out of that play, but they were able to pick up a little bit.
Reverse. No, a fake reverse. McNeil. Oh, what a defensive play by Michael Jackson. Jackson, the linebacker, turning at exactly the right time to foil that bid. It appeared to be a good throw, and McNeil could just taste 6 points.
You've got to have great confidence to stick a linebacker one-on-one on a man like McNeil. And then the other thing that's interesting, watch Jackson, who must read the arrival of the ball through the movements of McNeil. You saw McNeil having to adjust at the last moment to that football. Jackson read that and was able to turn and get a hand on that football and knock it away.
A thriller for Michael Jackson. 3rd and 10. Rocky Claver well covered by Keith Simpson. So the Jets ever so close to a big play. O'Brien to McNeil, but they now will have to punt.
The Jets not able to live up offensively to their planning in the locker room. They got everything. They got the quick stop by the defense. They got good field position. They had an excellent opportunity, but they've squandered it here. They've got to bring the defense back out onto the field.
Unless they have a little fake in store. We'll see. From the 50-yard line. Scansey is at the 10 for Seattle.
They're thinking rush here. Now they're dropping out. Seattle's dropping back.
Whoops. Movement by the Jets. Merlin, I wonder the way Gilbo moved out if there wasn't a fake on the play. Gilbo actually pulled out from the interior spot, lined up at a normal tackle position as if they were going to run to the right.
Well, one of the defenders leapt across there, and I don't know whether Rusty was responding to him or responding to a preordained assignment. Most everyone goes into a game with a few tricks up their sleeve. The Jets are no exception. I'm sure they have a fake punt in their repertoire.
So the penalty is
called here. They
Seattle.
called it. Yeah, the question there was who was drawn offside. Did the defensive man make the offensive man move? Indeed he did. He got across the line of scrimmage and forced the move.
Gilbo is actually the man lined up just to the right of center, but he was pulling almost as if a play was on. Now it's 4th and 5 from the Seattle 45. The up back is paid. It is a fake. Marion Barber doesn't make it. Barber, the backup fullback from Minnesota, and he was stopped cold as if Seattle knew what was coming.
The little snap right here. They wanted to go right up the middle with Barber. Fred Young, a great nose for the football, sticks his nose right on the legs of Barber and takes him down.
That's right. I was waiting. No extra charge for that rendition. 14-0 Seattle leads the Jets here at Giant Stadium. All but a turnover for Seattle to get the ball at the 44 as the fake punt did not work for the Jets. Oh my, Russell Carter all alone in the flat, but couldn't come up with the interception as Turner had gone deep and Craig had thrown underneath.
Turner didn't read the blitz. He didn't read the blitz. Craig will stop him on the way out. He says, look, you got to come back inside. Craig, anticipating that he would read the blitz and cut back inside. The ball hanging out there. Russell Carter getting a hand on it, but couldn't control it.
Now we'll see if Bud Carson, that defensive coordinator of the Jets, throws more action at Craig, trying to come up with a turnover. Randall Morris to the Jets' 49-yard line, a 7-yard carry. Morris has done a good job filling in as he did last year while Warner was on the sidelines with that knee injury. 61 yards for Morris. Only 12 the first 7 games. There's Carson.
Bud Carson, of course, the man who coordinates and has developed this 3-4 pressing defense, and they've got their work cut out for him. He's got to get some turnovers as well. It's apparent that the offense is kind of stymied today. They're stopping themselves. They'd like to get something going defensively, as the Seahawks have.
Shotgun, 2nd and 3. And incomplete, and a flag down. They're going to call Craig for throwing it away. Dan Ross, the tight end, lined up in the backfield with Craig, was blocking. He was not looking for a pass, but was in the area.
They're going to call a penalty against the Jets, and I think it's for holding. I think it's holding. They were holding the receiver, Dan Ross. It's a little screen to the tight end, and I believe they got Joe Klecko, or one of the Jets, for hanging on. Marty Lyons, 93, for hanging on to Ross on that play.
That's right. 93 Marty Lyons. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is KING TV, Channel 5, Seattle.
First and 10 for Seattle.
With Merlin Olsen, Dick Enberg at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The Seattle Seahawks opportunistically leading 14-0, and they get another break on a holding call and a first down inside the 45-yard line. Craig eludes the rush, can't hit Charlie Young, his tight end. Another flag is down.
I think they got a roughing call on Barry Bennett, 78. Craig really took some heat. He escapes the rush by Joe Klecko, who has just been a tremendous force in the middle of that offensive line today. Watch number 73, Powers, between the two blocks of Bush and Millard right there, and then misses the tackle on Craig. Couldn't hang on to the shoulder pad. The ball away, and you've got to stop there to get off of him. They get the double bump right there, and the flag is in the air.
There was plenty of time for Bennett to hold up. Other scores, 27-10 Denver as they've started the second half. 24-14 the Lions lead Miami. We're all into the second half now. The Bears with less than a touchdown lead against the Vikings at home. 14-7. Cleveland has scored against the Redskins early in the third. St. Louis leading Houston by 4. And here it's 14-0 Seattle, and a first down on the penalty inside the 30. And Craig is down by Klecko, and Klecko indeed a dominant force. And you were telling me something, Merlin, about Joe Klecko, that he would have fit in 20-30 years ago.
Now, some of what I would call the new breed of football players, if you'd taken them back to the locker room, if you could transport them in a time capsule, I think the vets would throw them right out. But Klecko would fit in. He's the kind of guy that plays good old-fashioned rough and tumble football. He plays hurt. He doesn't care. He'll do anything for you if it'll help to win. He's the kind of guy you like to play next to.
And he's not distracted by the outside. Football is his life.
Football is his life. No question about it.
Buffalo 17-0, trying to upset the Eagles. Here's Andre Hardy to the 30. Rusty Gilbo from McNeese State, number 94, made the hit.
Gilbo is going to be a tired man at the end of this day, Dick. Not only is he starting at that outside linebacking position, he's on every special team for the Jets. Now, I want to tell you, that is a responsibility. Imagine how much energy he will burn during this game. There are the signals, as you saw Carson on the sideline, flashing them into Lance Mel. Mel calls the signals. They need to get something going here. Right now, they've got to stop that Seattle offense.
3rd and a dozen. Wide open, but what a play by number 20, Davlin Mullen. Steve Largent was breaking into the clear. Craig thinks there should be a penalty.
When Craig is in trouble, he goes to Largent. He goes to the man who's caught so many big passes over the year. Man-to-man coverage by Davlin Mullen all the way across the field, and Mullen at the last second leaping out, stretching that left hand. That's what they were complaining about, was that late hit on Largent. You saw Largent dumped right at the end of that play. But what a great play by Davlin Mullen from the left corner.
Playing for the injured Bobby Jackson, Mullen from Western Kentucky. Johnson to try another long field goal, 48 yards. He's missed from 36 and from 45. I think that 47. Hooking again, and it's no good. From 48.
He's got to wonder if he's ever going to get one with the win.
Top the upright, the wind blowing, and it surely had its effect. Watch how this ball hooks. He starts it way to the right and hooks it just wide to the left. So he's 0 for 3. Jets take over at the 31. Freeman McNeil jumps into a lot of waiting arms. 3 yards, 2nd and 7.
Right now, Jets going back to a hammering attack. They have had their problems throwing the football. They'd like to establish something. A lot of time left in this game, Dick. 14 points is not a lot of points to put on the board. The Jets very capable of getting back into this ball game, but they've got to get something going.
They send both Walker and Toon to the right. Sohn split left, and it's McNeil. There's that cutting back you talked about, Merlin. The strong legs giving you the wide look, always able to move back inside against the grain, and a first down.
For those of you who have not been with us, McNeil running with injured ribs. 12th rib on the left side broken. McNeil wearing a heavy protective guard on those ribs, but it doesn't affect his cutting ability as he leaps right out of the arms of Michael Jackson. Boy, he is amazing.
And he's over 90 yards today, 98, and we have 9 minutes left in the third quarter. O'Brien. Finally cut down at the 45 by Fred Young. And again, O'Brien having trouble finding someone open. Let's go to NFL 85.
All right, Dick and Maryland. In the Silver Dome, third quarter action. Eric Hipple drops back to pass on play action pass. He's hit by number 71, Mike Charles. Coughs up the ball. Bob Brzezinski touchdown. Miami trails 24-21.
Oh, the value of that defensive play to get the score. We've seen it here, and now Miami capitalizes against the Lions. First down on the scramble by O'Brien of a dozen. Wide open is Sohn. Hit immediately by Kenny Easley. 5 hard-earned yards for Kurt Sohn.
Sohn showing great concentration. Easley pounced on him, got there just after the ball arrived, and Sohn would not give it up. 2nd and 5.
6-yard gain.
Kurt Sohn, he's the kind of guy, an overachiever you have to admire. Look at that. He was actually juggling the ball and still able to hang on out of the New York area. Went down to North Carolina State on a lacrosse scholarship. Freeman McNeil to the 40, where it'll be third down and a long 4.
Back on the nose, Joe Nash battling in there with Joe Fields. Giving you a little taste of what's happening on the line of scrimmage. Nash, of course, playing out of that straight-up stance and used his power of his hands and arms to push Fields off guard on that play. Got good penetration and a very fine tackle. No gain at all. Brings up a 3rd and 5. Blitz.
Indecisive and couldn't find the open man. A flag is down.
Flag downfield in an area where we usually see an illegal chuck or perhaps a holding call, but we'll let the officials sort it out. And O'Brien hesitating. It looked to me like there was a chance for him to run for that first down, but he is just not comfortable yet moving around in the pocket, much more so than he was earlier in the year, but still that's a problem for him.
There it is, illegal use of the hands against Seattle. That'll carry a first down inside or about the 35-yard line. It's almost as if, and Chuck Knox now agreeing, almost as if Merlin that O'Brien, he's got his mind set on a particular target. It's not unlike a young quarterback, and waiting for that another extra half second for him to break open. Then when he doesn't, it's too late.
You have the feeling, Dick, that, and he said it earlier, he said, you know, I get better at reading what's happening and feeling comfortable here, but so much of it is like Russian to me. And, you know, it's better at it this year, but it's still a little bit of Chinese or Russian or something in there.
Freeman McNeil caught in the backfield, and another flag is down.
I think that penalty is going to go back out. Easley is doing his own officiating out there, saying that one is on the Jets.
Ted Banker was out into the secondary to throw a block for the Jets.
I think Banker had tackled Joe Nash. That's what had happened. There goes the play in from Walton on the sideline. Rich Kotite will be sending it in, and I believe what they're signaling there is the formation so that the players will know who has to come out of that huddle as they send their substitutions on the field. Bobby Hammond, the running back coach, Freeman McNeil's coach, among others, making that signal from the sideline.
Trailing 14-0, the New York Jets. 10 yards marked off against them on the holding call with 6.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. So the Seahawks bring in a couple of extra defensive backs. McNeil got a few yards out of nothing inside the 40.
A good nose tackle not only stops things up inside, but he also can pursue quickly down the line. And when you're working against a running back like McNeil, that's particularly important. There's Joe Nash, 72, getting away from Alexander, the guard, driving across, and you see he's there along with Randy Edwards. 22, Dave Brown, does not, well, yes, I was going to say he does not make the tackle, but reached out, and boy, those hands, those powerful hands really come in valuable.
104 yards now for McNeil. Woody Tony Page all the way to the 24. Page, who had carried for only 66 yards total on the year, gets 15 on that carry.
He usually gets the ball in tough yardage situations. Oh, nice block. Ted Banker, 63. They brought him in from the outside. A good trap. And Tony Page springs up the middle for the first down.
Well, we talked about the rule of thumb, 100 yards for the rusher. You win the game, but McNeil has over 100, and the Jets are losing 14-0. This is their third deep drive into Seattle territory. Complete to Tune. Breaking tackles. And it takes 3 Seahawks, 4 to get him down. And they chant Tune.
O'Brien getting that ball out quickly, and for the third time today, the Jets getting into position to score. They've self-destructed on the other 2 opportunities. Tune right here breaking away from a tough tackler easily. He is tough man on man. Tune showing some good strength. Boy, look at him gang up, though. He draw a crowd in a hurry.
To the 21-yard line. 2nd and 2. Check that, the 16-yard line. 2nd and 2. Easily on a blitz. Wide open. McNeil. Touchdown.
Talking on the sideline, and they say the blitz is a two-edged sword. If you don't get there, you may just leave the opening for the offense. O'Brien read the blitz well. Fred Young, number 50, the linebacker, I think, was supposed to be covering McNeil. He didn't get there, and the touchdown goes for the Jets.
Pat Leahy adds the extra point, and the Jets are right back in this one with 4 minutes and 10 seconds left. Third quarter, it's 14-7. The last for a touchdown. 16 yards to culminate a 69-yard New York drive for the Jets' first score of the afternoon. And with 4 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter, New York has this crowd enthused, and of course, tied with the Dolphins for first place in the East. The Lions still holding on to a 3-point lead at the Silverdome in the fourth quarter. Leahy to kick it off. Scansey at the 2. He's got some running room. And he's finally knocked out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Paul Scansey. 32 yards on the return. Marion Barber with the tackle. 14-7. The Seahawks trying to make it 8 straight against the Jets. The Jets trying to rally from 14-0 down to stay at least in a share of the top spot in the AFC East.
Dick, you almost had to feel a sigh of relief from that Jets sideline as they finally are able to take advantage of an opportunity and get themselves on the scoreboard. And suddenly the Jet defense has closed down Seattle's running game. Mark Gastineau played the first part of the year with a cast on his thumb. He's got the cast off now. It's heavily taped, but watch him here. Bob Kreider, 78, actually tackling Gastineau, but Gastineau just keeps powering and is at the bottom of that stack. Fine defensive play. He's not known for his running defense, but let's give him good marks on that one.
Indeed, he was the man who made that play work defensively. 2nd and 11. Gastineau. It goes out of bounds. Seattle still has the ball back at the 13. The Jets with countless opportunities to come up with a ball and may have been a bit greedy. They were looking touchdown instead of just recovering the ball.
You've got to get the football, but let's watch Gastineau, the man who makes the play, comes from behind and strips the ball away as Craig reached back after faking once. Now the ball is rolling loose. Kreider had a chance. Gastineau dove at it, knocked it away. Lions had a piece of it. There's the man right there. Davlin Mullen has got to control that football, knocks it out of bounds, and it'll be Seattle's ball, third, and in a long, long ways to go.
Record that as a sack for Gastineau. The 18, and the Seahawks will have to punt from deep in their own end.
Good pressure defense again from this New York Jets defense, and Walton getting pumped up on that sideline realizes that they're going to get the ball back in good position. He's salivating over there, Dick.
Fenzer, a 35 and a 37-yard punt. Kirk Springs, dangerous return man, 10 men up on the line of scrimmage for the Jets. High but short. No fair catch.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did. I didn't see it. Boy,
that was a short and quick one. He didn't have much time.
And a short kick. Good position for the Jets. Mark Gastineau on the left. His presence being felt, created the fumble. Davlin Mullen, number 20, ever so close to a touchdown. It didn't take the nice bounce for Mullen that Jacob Green got on the Seattle score. Right here. And now a fumble the other way, and Seattle, I believe, is recovered.
There's a fight down there for that football. About 10 sets of hands on it. And underneath that pile right now, they're still scrambling.
First down, Seattle. So Bryan, and that's 3 identical plays. The quarterback with his arm cocked, unable to get the arm forward. A man coming from behind to knock it away.
We mentioned the missing player on this side, Marvin Powell. He is usually on that side working on Jacob Green. Ted Banker over there today because of that injury. And there's Jacob all over O'Brien. The ball stripped away, and Seattle comes right back. Big play for big play. Here's the last of that last play, which could easily have resulted in a touchdown for the Jets. Mullen just did not get the good bounce. You saw the ball bounce up to Jacob Green. That ball did not bounce up to Davlin Mullen. It ended up going out of bounds. And oh, this game has made some crazy turns in the last few minutes, Dick.
And of course, since there never was possession by the Jets on the play, the last team in possession, Seattle, gets it when the ball goes out of bounds. Craig going for 6. Good coverage by Mullen. He really warded off Darrell Turner.
Davlin Mullen, I think, wishing he could get an offensive interference call against Darrell Turner. Watch him at the end of this play, head down, running for position, glancing back, a little shoulder bumping there. Turner will try and come over the top. That could have been called offensive interference, Dick. But Mullen just happy that he was not victimized, and there's a bad thing that's happened for them. Joe Klecko, we've shown you his play earlier in this game. Jet doctor's out to check him.
Klecko.
Well, I said he's a throwback. He won't let you know he's hurt. He could be bursting with pain right now, but he won't let you know that.
Detroit has opened a 10-point lead against the Dolphins in the fourth quarter. And as Bob Costas related earlier, boy, the Lions at home against the Giants, beating the Dallas Cowboys at home, beating San Francisco, and this week trying to trim the Dolphins. 2nd and 10. Fancy footwork by Morris to pick up 7. It's 14-7 here late in the third quarter. Now let's go to NFL 85.
All right, Dick, at the Silverdome, Detroit gets a reprieve. There was a penalty on the field goal attempt, giving them an automatic first down. James Jones barrels in for the score. Detroit leads Miami 31-21 fourth quarter. Shades of the Armada tornado.
Hey, that's our secret. That's our secret, Ahmad. At the 35-yard line, 3rd and 3. Klecko is back in. Morris. And Klecko is in on the tackle. May have been a fumble. There it is, and the Jets have the ball back.
And they're saying that the ball has gone over. Tremendous job. Klecko off the field for a single play with an injury. Came right back on. You'll see him here battling with Bush, knocking Bush, just bench pressing him back into the line, and then getting Morris. You saw the arm go right into the football and knock it loose. A battle for the football underneath.
Rusty Gilbo, 94, will wind up with it, but the presence of Klecko fighting off blockers and still almost blindly reaching back with a left hand and assisting in that fumble, although it appeared somebody from the other side might have gotten to it first.
Looked like Lance Mell maybe from the backside, one of the linebackers, getting a hand in on that ball too.
So the Jets trailing 14-7, dodge a bullet after the fumble, get it right back. McNeil out to the 40-yard line goes Freeman McNeil, and a gain of over 5. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Jets and the National Football League is prohibited.
2nd and 5 from the 20.
Freeman McNeil, the top rusher in the American Football Conference, coming in, and over 100 yards once again this afternoon. 2nd and 4. O'Brien's arm was hit as he delivered that pass intended for Wesley Walker. It'll be 3rd and 4.
One of the reasons that this Seattle defense can give you fits is that they have 3 bulls up front. Tom Catlin, the defensive coordinator for Seattle, signaling in now from the sideline. A 4. I think he's talking about 4 defensive linemen. It means Randy Edwards going in from the sideline, giving him the signal from the sideline again.
Well, I would guess they're going to rush somebody.
Well, I think
move.
they're all going to be in there. 3rd and about 4.5. 4 down linemen. And here they come.
Final minute, 3rd quarter. O'Brien. And once again, could not find anyone open. And to the credit of the Seattle deep defense, O'Brien has had a second chance more than once today, but can't find a white jersey.
And as has happened to him throughout his young career, he still breaks down when he cannot find the open receiver. Does not sense the open area on the field. Looked like he could have gone quickly upfield. Look how much time has elapsed as they break the cup down, and O'Brien still has not found a way to get out of there.
Greg Gaines got the sack, and in comes Jennings to punt.
No.
Low driving kick. It'll take a good bounce and a good play by Scansey to field it and return to the 31-yard line. Bobby Humphrey made the tackle. 43-yard punt, 8-yard return with 3 seconds left in this 3rd quarter.
42-yard kick.
That's the kind of punt that scares you to death if you're Larry Pasquale, the special teams coach.
All right, next Sunday, our lineup as we move into the second half of the regular year. Miami, New England, Cleveland at Pittsburgh, a rivalry. Cincinnati at Buffalo, and Kansas City will play at the Astrodome in the early games. And at 4 o'clock, the Raiders at Seattle. That'll be a big one. Denver, San Diego. Jets will be in Indianapolis. All here on NBC, 12:30 Eastern Time, NFL 85. Joe Klecko, was he invited?
No, I don't think so. I think he got in there on his own.
Came in there like a little kid looking at his hands as if to say, that wasn't my hand in the cookie jar, Mom.
Gastineau in to try and help the officials a little bit. Let's see if anything moves in there.
Watch
Klecko. You saw the movement from the outside by Bob Kreider, but I think after Klecko had come across the line of scrimmage, the officials marking it off against the Jets. I mentioned that Klecko had had hurt his thumb as well, dislocated his thumb, and as the trainer Bob Reese was popping it in, they thought they were doing a good job with it. Looked down and the bone had popped through and it split the inside of the thumb wide open. So he is playing, he's now getting it to a point where it's useful, but he's been playing hurt for a number of weeks.
The number of the Seahawks running game now. Gilbo hitting Hardy in the backfield as the gun sounds, ending the third quarter. 14-7 Seahawks. Back after these messages from your local station. Storied number in Jets history. Number 13 was worn by Don Maynard. And why isn't he in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? The story is interesting because Jennings wore 13 with the Giants, remember? But Maynard wore 13 prior to that with the Giants when he was a rookie there. It was in his contract with the Giants and later migrated to the old AFL Titans. Again, Morris is stopped. And, well, we'll finish that later. The story of the 13s. Here are some other numbers.
Rushing yardage, very big, as you might expect, with Freeman McNeil having a big day. Passing yardage, very low for both teams. Of course, the big number still on the board, where the Jets are behind by 7 points to the Seahawks.
3rd and 5.
Third down and 5. Seattle at its 36. Intercepted by Mullen. At the 26, Davlin Mullen makes amends. But a flag is down. It's against the Jets. You'll hear a collective moan. It isn't. It's against Seattle. Davlin Mullen, who was denied a touchdown on the fumble recovery, played this one just right.
Dave Craig again going after Largent, and Mullen just doing a great job of reacting. That pass a little bit late in being thrown, and Largent hanging on for his life as Mullen was able to close the cushion and snare that football, carry it on down to it's just outside the 26-yard line.
His first interception this year, second career. And the Jets, trailing 14-7 in the first minute of the fourth quarter, have the ball at the Seattle 26.
And how quickly the Jets now get an opportunity to even up this ball game. They've got a few plays here to put them down. Hopefully they can get to 7, tie this ball game up, knot it up as we enter the fourth quarter. Makes the stop after a short gain. Just to finish the story on Maynard and Jennings. So Jennings became the Giants kicker and wore number 13. Of course, Maynard then moved over to the Titans, then the Jets, and set all of the records with them wearing 13, and the number's never been worn since. But when Jennings was traded this year to the Jets, he asked for 13. They called Maynard, said, do you think that'd be all right? Although it's not been officially retired, he said he's a first-class guy and a veteran. I'm proud that somebody wants to wear 13. And so Jennings has been following Maynard around here in this area. Tony Page, and he's nailed by Jacob Green.
Stopped by Jacob Green.
And here come the pass defensive unit in for Seattle as 4 substitutes are made.
Jacob Green has had a big day. Not only that long fumble recovery for a touchdown, but several crucial sacks, forced a fumble just a short time ago. And we'd mention again, without belaboring the point, that injury to the foot, the right foot of Marvin Powell, which has kept him out of the ball game, and it put Ted Banker nose to nose with Jacob Green, has been a thorn in the side of the Jets all day.
Almost intercepted by John Harris. And again, O'Brien unable to find a man open, and he could feel pressure and hurried that pass.
You can't pull the trigger when you can't find someone open. You've got to read it, and then if it's not there, eat the football. I'm sure Walton is saying, look, better we take the loss than to throw one down there that's going to be intercepted.
Harris amongst the leading active interceptors, but Pat Leahy trying a 42-yarder. He's made 12 of the last 13. Remember, the wind has been blowing from right to left for the kicker, and he gauges it right. Leahy, who kicked 2 of over 50 yards last week, connects from 41. 47 seconds left, fourth quarter. The Jets rallying from 14-0 down have closed the gap to 14-10. Leahy scoots one down to Randall Morris. 15, 20, and he was drilled by Marion Barber. Kurt Warner injured in the first quarter with 3.5 minutes gone in the game. Warner sprained an ankle. He's carried only 3 times for 13. He and his running partner in the starting backfield, David Hughes, both hurt in the first period, have basically not played since. So McNeil has owned things from the rushing end as we compared these 2 outstanding runners in this game. Injuries taking Warner away from Seattle, and it is shown in the second half. Knox, with a 2-touchdown lead, has played it as safely as possible, but they've not been able to run it all against the Jets in the second half. Will he open it up? Yes. Incomplete to Andre Hardy, who has replaced Hughes. So Hardy, who was an Eagle pick a year ago in the 5th round out of St. Mary's, and Morris, a 10th round pick last year from Tennessee. That's it for the Seahawks.
Dick, we talked about the nose tackles today, and one stat that'll jump at you: when you have a good nose tackle, he keeps the centers and guards off the 2 inside linebackers. Both these teams, the leading tacklers are the 2 inside linebackers, Mel and Clifton, and Young and Butler, and then you saw that both the nose tackles were the number 5 tacklers.
That's really interesting. We'll get back to that. 2nd and 10 at the 22. The 48. That comes from hours and hours and hours of work on the practice field. We saw these 2 men working on that after everyone else had showered the last time we were in Seattle.
If you want to know why Largent is a great receiver, watch him catch that football at maximum extension on the back of Davlin Mullen, number 20. You can't do it any better than that.
And Mullen, he didn't know where the ball was. Largent had turned him around enough, and the timing on the play was magnificent as the ball lobbed long before Largent made his final move. A key first down at the 48. Klecko appeared to be offside. Morris to the 50. Joe Klecko, if he wasn't offside, he was a whisker away from it.
Dick, we have mentioned a number of times the injury to Marvin Powell. The Seattle Seahawks offense also battling with an injury. Robert Pratt, starting right guard, has been out of their lineup. Brian Millard in their right guard has done an excellent job of picking up the slack for the Seahawks on offense.
It is offside. Jerry Seaman's microphone hasn't been working of late. 5 yards marked off against the Jets.
Offside, number 73. Defense, still first down.
Sounds like you got 2 mics on now. Double bump.
Compensating. Going back to that, so if a nose man is really doing his job, he occupies all the men in the middle. That frees up the inside linebackers, and Nash and Klecko have been so outstanding. Those inside backers have had a field day.
And that's where the strength of a 3-4 defense has to begin, right with the nose tackle and those 2 inside linebackers.
1st and 5. Flag down. Largent covered by Mullen. We may have a hold against Seattle.
I think we're going to have a holding call on someone who's trying to slow Klecko down in the middle. Mullen battling.
Possible, but they've not been able to run it all against the Jets in the second half. Will he open it up? Yes. Incomplete to Andre Hardy, who has replaced Hughes. So Hardy, who was an Eagle pick a year ago in the 5th round out of St. Mary's, and Morris, a 10th round pick last year from Tennessee. That's it for the Seahawks.
Dick, we talked about the nose tackles today, and one stat that'll jump at you: when you have a good nose tackle, he keeps the centers and guards off the 2 inside linebackers. Both these teams, the leading tacklers are the 2 inside linebackers, Mel and Clifton, and Young and Butler. And then you saw that both the nose tackles were the number 5 tacklers.
That's really interesting. We'll get back to that. 2nd and 10 at the 22. The 48. That comes from hours and hours and hours of work on the practice field. We saw these 2 men working on that after everyone else had showered the last time we were in Seattle.
If you want to know why Largent is a great receiver, watch him catch that football at maximum extension on the back of Davlin Mullen, number 20. You can't do it any better than that.
And Mullen, he didn't know where the ball was. Largent had turned him around enough, and the timing on the play was magnificent as the ball lobbed long before Largent made his final move. A key 1st down at the 48. Klecko appeared to be offside. Morris to the 50. Joe Klecko, if he wasn't offside, he was a whisker away from it.
Dick, we have mentioned a number of times the injury to Marvin Powell. The Seattle Seahawks offense also battling with an injury. Robert Pratt, starting right guard, has been out of their lineup. Brian Millard in there at right guard has done an excellent job of picking up the slack for the Seahawks on offense.
It is offside. Jerry Seaman's microphone hasn't been working of late. 5 yards marked off against the Jets.
Offside, number 73. Defense, still 1st down.
Sounds like you got 2 mics on now. Double bump.
Compensating. Going back to that, so if a nose man is really doing his job, he occupies all the men in the middle. That frees up the inside linebackers, and Nash and Klecko have been so outstanding. Those inside backers have had a field day.
And that's where the strength of a 3-4 defense has to begin, right with the nose tackle and those 2 inside linebackers.
1st and 5. Flag down. Largent covered by Mullen. We may have a hold against Seattle.
I think we're going to have a holding call on someone who's trying to slow Klecko down in the middle. Mullen battling. Well, I tell you, that's on the line of scrimmage, just a crunching game going on for both teams. And the man who's really on the spot, the 2 offensive centers, Blair Bush and on the other side, Joe Fields, battling against 2 of the very finest nosemen in the NFL.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Number 64. Offense, still 1st down.
Ron Essink from Grand Valley State in Michigan.
Well, that was not on Klecko. Shank, that's Essex's nickname on the outside. He's working on Marty Lyons. Now Klecko has moved out to a defensive end position for a play, and they've moved Lyons inside.
4-man front for the Jets. 1st and 15. Here comes Gastineau. And Craig down at the 50 with a gain of about 7. And Gastineau so fast that he ran right by the quarterback. He has so much speed generated, it's tough for him to change directions.
He's just shaking his head. He said, how could I miss that one? Watch him come from the right side of your screen. He blows inside of that 78 Bob Kreider, leaves Kreider standing on the line, but Craig doing what O'Brien has not been able to do. When he's under pressure, gets away from the pressure, gets upfield, turns that bad play into at least a saving play and only a short loss.
2nd and 10. They mark it at the 48 where he first went down with the slide. So they'll mark this one at the 47 in Jets territory. The ball is dead as soon as that quarterback goes into a feet-first slide. New rule this year. So where it appears that he gets a couple more yards before he's touched, it goes back to where he initiates the slide and where the ball was at that point.
And the defenders are not allowed to spear him at that point. And you saw Craig on that last play saying, hey, they're trying to get me. Well, the Jets defenders staying off of him. Bud Carson signaling out to his defense. Defensive line coach Callahan giving them the signals from the sideline.
2 scrambles worth 11 yards. Make it 3rd and 4. It's short of the first down. Ross makes the catch, but a flag is down, and so is Craig as Gastineau hit him full speed legally, but Craig just did get away the pass. The flag is down where Ross made the catch.
Watch Gastineau burst past Kreider. Kreider didn't have a chance, and then just bury Craig's helmet. I can understand why Craig is shaking his head on the sideline.
Craig catching his breath. Oh, Gastineau, a man that size, 265 pounds or more, and running, he probably could run 109.798.
The whiplash. Did you see Craig's head snap? Now that's what'll knock you unconscious.
Number 85. Offense.
Oh, the penalty against Ross of Seattle for pushing off will be declined by the Jets to bring up 4th down.
Very quickly, the Jets get a break defensively, get a chance now to force the punt. We saw Seattle come after a punt earlier. I wonder if maybe Larry Pasquale may send someone after this one.
Townsell joins Springs deep at the 10. Finzer aiming for the sidelines. A good kick. Hit the 5-yard line. Well, they're going to mark it a little worse than that, however. At about the 8. So Finzer a good job, but the Jets have the ball trailing by 7. Has some strange feelings now. All of a sudden, you have a feeling Jets have a real good chance to win it.
Energy surges back and forth. This game, the motion on the field has changed so many times now. Now it's the opportunity for O'Brien to get his troops going here.
He's got a man open. Rocky Cleaver. Cleaver with a first down across the 20. Now let's update you on all the other scores. Final, Denver has beaten Kansas City 30-10. 31-21. Boy, the Jets fans have to like that score. Bears winning now big against Minnesota in the 4th. 14-7 Washington hanging on by a touchdown in the 4th at Cleveland. Houston has taken the lead against St. Louis in the 4th quarter. More later. From the 21. McNeil for about 5. 2nd down and 5. Back to the scoreboard. Atlanta trails Dallas 24-10 in the 4th. 30-14 New England has come from 14-0 down. 17-14 Buffalo trying to hang on to that upset at Philadelphia. Indianapolis apparently is going to beat Green Bay 30-10 in the 4th. And here it's 14-10. The Seahawks leading all the way. The big play now, Jacob Green, 79-yard run with a fumble for a touchdown. Over the middle, Al Toon. Kenny Easley trying to rip the ball away. First down.
A young rookie working on an experienced veteran. The big hitter, Kenny Easley, trying to cover that young stud, Toon. Toon goes up, gets the football, and Easley is trying to strip it loose. Watch him fight for that football. Toon said, no way you're getting this, fella. I'm going to take it to the ground with me.
There's Toon, 6'4" and 200 pounds. 3 catches today. His busiest day with the Jets, and that was a key. First down reception. McNeil cutting back to the 48. A gain of about 10 more.
Freeman McNeil, tremendous acceleration as he runs to his right and then cuts back against the grain. And boy, when you can stretch a defense out like that and then lash back against the grain, it's awfully tough to get you down on the ground.
10 more yards to give him 126 for the afternoon, and a first down at the Jets' 49.
Talk talked about some of the problems that Kenny O'Brien has had in this game. Let's give him high marks right here. Tremendous pressure. He knew he was going to take a lick. He stayed right in there. He delivered that football on target and just got buried back there. But a gutsy play, a fine play by Ken O'Brien.
That's an unusual connection collegiately. University of California, Davis to Fordham for a big gain and a first down at the 18-yard line with less than 6 minutes remaining. McNeil for a couple, and Easley again. They'll have a lot to talk about, those two ex-Bruins, after this one.
Easley again going after the football too. McNeil clamping down on it. We'd mentioned that McNeil, wearing big rib pads, was concerned about not fumbling the football. Said he couldn't nestle that football against the ribs like he ordinarily does.
A three-pointer would leave the Jets a point shy. They're going for the lead. Touchdown, Wesley Walker.
Wesley Walker takes this ball and a shot from Terry Taylor, and how did he ever hang on to that football? Well, that's why he's a great receiver. Ken O'Brien, another pinpoint pass, again buried as he threw the football. Let's give him another nod for great courage.
Pat Leahy's try for point is good. 5:11 left. The Jets, for the first time, own the lead. 15 yards, survives the collision with Taylor, slams one-handed with a football into the end zone, and the Jets lead 17-14. Leahy roots it deep. It won't be carried out. Don't forget tonight, the lineup on NBC, Punky Brewster, followed by Silver Spoons, two of NBC's successful news shows, Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and NBC Sunday night movie, Crime of Innocence. All tonight on the Peacock, so stay with us.
Dick, it's awfully hard to get the momentum back when you've lost it, to get started again. Knox and the Seahawks hoping they can get their offense moving right here.
Open is Turner, but can't make the catch. Darrell Turner at the 35-yard line. This crowd's going crazy now.
Mark Gastineau out there to do a little cheerleading, but before he did the cheerleading, he was in there smashing on the top of Dave Craig. Craig, under that pressure, simply could not get the football off in time, and Turner may have re-injured that toe. He's on the sideline.
Largent to the left. Walker, Byron Walker is in to the left. Largent right. 2nd and 10.
The fourth time today we've seen a quarterback hit from the blind side and fumble. Gastineau had moved from left end to right end defensively, came blitzing through from the outside and leveled Craig. The ball picked up and carried in, but apparently it's going to be carried back by the officials.
Holding, number 27, defense, first down.
I'm sure Joe Walden saying, how could it matter? Gastineau was in there and 2 seconds.
Watch the pressure from the blind side. Gastineau right there. The ball pops free, and Lance Mel, who was blitzing up the middle, got the good bounce on the football and carried it in. But, oh my, what a costly turnaround here. We saw that kind of play go for a 14-point turnaround, or possibly 14 points for Seattle's favor early. Now here was the Jets' chance to put it away, but a penalty gives the ball back to Seattle.
So instead of 7 points for the Jets, it's a first down for Seattle at the 25. Randall Morris for about 7, maybe 8. Lance Mel made the tackle. The time, 4:47 remaining. The score, Jets 17, Seahawks 14. Other scores, the Bears apparently will remain unbeaten through the first half of the year. And a final, the Redskins hold on at Cleveland 14-7. Second down. A long 2. With a first down as he squirts out to the 38. Mel again with a hit.
Mark Gastineau had moved inside on that play, lined up, nose up on Brian Millard. Brian Millard comes right back at him with some help from Kreider there. Kreider putting a little arm lock on Gastineau. Gives Randall Morris enough room to squirm for the first down. And Seattle now moving the football. Looking at the scoreboard, they know they've got to get some more points up there.
Springs, and there were 6 men forming a defensive circle around Steve Largent, and Springs in front of the play able to bat it incomplete.
Largent drawing a huge crowd. I think everyone in this stadium and in this booth knows that that's the man Craig wants. Craig getting tremendous heat again. Klecko just keeps hammering up through the inside of that parking. Gastineau from the outside, Lyon from the outside. Springs able to go up and knock that football away.
Second and 10. Charlie Young, and another flag is down. Young, the tight end. Tackled by Russell Carter. We may have a hold against Seattle this time.
Thrown all the way from the far side of the field. Maybe on Ron Essink from that side.
One must reflect back, if you're a Seattle fan, on 3 near misses on field goal attempts by Norm Johnson. He missed wide right from 36 yards early in the game, and then narrowly missed to the left. One hit the upright from 47 and 48, and the Jets have a 3-point advantage.
And how strange it is that all 3 of those would have been kicked against the wind. Later on in the game, when Leahy had a chance to kick in that same end of the field, the winds had died down a little bit. His ball not as affected as the 3 kicked by Johnson.
10 yards marked off against Seattle. They come out with 4 wide receivers. You can bet Gastineau and company will tee off on this one. Second and 20. Complete to Scansey at the 40. That'll leave them 8 yards shy of a first down. Here's a final. Detroit 31, Miami 21. So the Detroit Lions just wait. And here's the score being given here at Giant Stadium. So at this moment, 3 minutes and 6 seconds from the final gun, the Jets, if they can hold on to the 3-point lead, take over sole possession of first place.
From a crowd that booed their team off the field at halftime, things have certainly changed, Dick.
Third and 8. Largent. And Seattle will have to give up the ball, or will they try? No, they won't gamble with 2:43 left. Craig with lots of time, but couldn't find a man open, and was immediately drawn to number 80, Largent, but he had 2 men well covering him, Carter and Mullen.
Tremendous coverage downfield. When you give a quarterback that amount of time, very, very hard to cover those people. Craig talked to himself, looked like he was thinking about running the football, finally opted to fire it to Largent.
Beautiful kick by Finzer, his best of the game. Springs, lets it bounce, and it's in the end zone. So the touchback for the Jets, very nearly covered, and we've got a fracas down at the 38-yard line. 59-yard kick, 39 net. And the clock stopped with 2:30 left on change of possession. Both teams have all 3 timeouts remaining.
Not a single yellow flag on the ground.
Tonight on NBC Sunday Night Movie, Andy Griffith, Ralph Waite, and Diane Ladd star in the NBC world premiere movie Crime of Innocence. What a frightened child did was a mistake. What a judge did was a crime. Tammy Lauren and Steve Inwood co-star in this powerful drama inspired by actual events dramatizing the plight of children being housed and exploited in adult jails. That's tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Time here on NBC.
Catlin will come after him here. You've got to blitz. You've got to make something happen defensively. They're looking turnover.
McNeil gains a couple of yards. How close is this to being a tie game? This close. The width of that upright. Watch the upright on your right. He starts it down the middle, does Norm Johnson, the Seattle place kicker.
His second of 3 attempts, and you see the ball at the last second just kick off and down. Now, if that had gone over the bar, of course, it would have been good. But it kicked slightly ahead of the bar and dropped down to be a non-counting and very sad field goal for Seattle.
Johnson hoping he gets another chance. Philadelphia did, and they rallied, trailing 17-0. The Eagles win it in the second half, 21-17. Jaworski to Quick, a 32-yard touchdown pass with 2 minutes left, 1 for Philly. Seattle spends one of those 3 timeouts here and will, of course, get another at the 2-minute warning.
The wear and tear on quarterbacks has been heavy today. Gastineau has been all over Craig. These Seahawks have been all over O'Brien. Both quarterbacks have been on the ground a great deal. And right now, young Kenny O'Brien has a very important responsibility. Keep a hold of this football. Try and eat some of the clock. We don't want to give Seattle another chance.
So, Walter, we saw Gastineau. His wife, Lisa, says he's about as fastidious as they come. He is Mr. Neat, is Mark Gastineau. He even alphabetizes the cereal boxes in the kitchen cupboard. There's Warner wishing he had a chance. But the sprained ankle sidelining the Seattle running ace since early in the game. Carried only 3 times.
Of course, you don't want to take a chance with a valuable commodity like Kurt Warner. Knox believing that he could handle this game and was able to do it until this Jet offense caught fire in the second half.
One of the late games, Cincinnati on a breach 37-yard field goal. And Seattle, that's interesting. Chuck Knox spending 2 timeouts before the 2-minute warning. And it'll be 3rd down, about 6. And if they can stop the Jets here, then the Jets would have to punt, the 2-minute warning, change of possession, whatever, that he's figuring that his team will have 2 minutes and 1 timeout left to try to get at least a field goal.
Knox, knowing that he's going to get the stop at the 2-minute warning, figures that he can control the clock, and they've designed their 2-minute offense to do that. What they need to do right now is to play this critical 3rd down on their terms, and that means no yardage. They can't give up the 1st down.
Yeah, the Jets make a 1st down here, the game in essence is over. They're the 2 masterminds. Walton, 4 years younger than his counterpart Knox, and Dave Craig already formulating his offensive thinking if he gets another chance. New England has beaten Tampa Bay, and the Patriots are back in the thick of things. They're 5-3.
Dave Craig, we showed you some stats earlier. Had a horrible week last week against Denver. Great week the week before, and today he's almost been both directions. He had a big first half and has not been able to do much in the second half.
Rest of the East final, Miami drops to 5-3, tied with New England. Should the Seahawks rally, we'd have a three-way tie for first. If the Jets hold on, they own it by themselves. Indianapolis, they're going to be a factor. They're a tough team, especially at home, 3-5, and Buffalo denied again today.
Again, the Seahawks wait until the last possible second to make their defensive substitutions, not tipping their hand defensively. Right now, perhaps the biggest play of the game for the New York Jets.
3rd and 6. McNeil. This game is all but over. McNeil, first down. Terrific block by Jim Sweeney, the left guard, number 53.
Sweeney out in front of McNeil on John Harris, buried him right there. The attempt by Simpson from the inside. They were looking pass and got the run.
Didn't play last week, 151 yards today. It was an interesting story in the New York Times this week. And he said that, ask about a hero. And he said, well, my dad died when I was 7 years old. He was 26. I'm 26 right now. He said, I lost the only hero I had. And he still plays with a memory that a child would have of his father. What a day for McNeil.
Certainly this one will be entered on that list of great rushing performances. Go right in the center there, won't it, Dick?
4th best rushing total for McNeil, who is now just 4 yards shy of 800 yards for the year. This is the halfway mark, so that figures out for a 1,600-yard season, and he's missed one whole game. Didn't play last week. Well, his importance to the Jets, as important as Warner's absence is to Seattle. Tony Page, the only running back, 2 minutes left. And of course, Seattle hoping for a hit that would force a fumble, and that is their last timeout. 1:55 remain, and the Seahawks cannot stop the clock again. Looking at the Giant Stadium scoreboard, where they're seeing their own likeness waving to themselves, and the crowd responded. Klecko, boy, he really kissed off a few blockers today.
Gastineau having a fine day. I'll tell you that. They call them the sack exchange here for a long time, and they may have changed a little bit over the years. They can still squeeze a quarterback's head pretty good, Dick.
Leading 17-14, the Jets, 2nd down and 11. Dennis Blygen. That's interesting, and having a young man who's just activated. Freeman McNeil on the sidelines, but Blygen in a critical spot just to hold on the football, given the call. Freeman is incredible, says his teammate Marvin Powell. He's like a floating mirage out there. He is our meal ticket. Ken O'Brien said he makes everything look like it's in slow motion, and he's the only one going fast.
Well, I got to tell you, my hat's off to him. He played in pain all day today, called on to make the big plays, and made them when they had to be made.
New Orleans taking the early lead against the Giants on a 33-yard field goal by Morton Anderson. This is a 3rd down carry for Blygen, and he's short of the first down. 1:05 clock running. Seattle's going to get the ball. You can see Dave Brown in there winding up saying, hey, get on side the line of scrimmage, so they have to mark the ball.
I got to believe they're going to come after this kick too, Dick. Try and block the kick. See if they can't do something with their special teams here.
The 30-second clock is at 23 seconds behind this one.
They'll probably just let it run out, take the penalty, let them restart the clock, and then kick it.
The penalty will come at 23. Or pretty close to it.
No, they're going to get it out of there.
Whoa! And easily was blocked into the kicker. And the clock stops on change of possession with 17 seconds left. Scansey returning to the 29. Easily, and you could see the referee, Jerry Seaman, indicate, much like an umpire saying foul tip, that he was knocked into the kicker.
Watch this as he gets up and actually looks like he got a finger on that ball. Boy, look at Jennings' knee. I'm amazed that Jennings was able to get out of that and walk off the field. Almost a critical injury for these Jets.
That was the signal, as if he had tipped the ball, so no penalty, made contact with the ball. Dave Craig, number 17.
17 seconds. Jets and their fans
Pressure on the play by Tom.
have watched the final opportunity for the Seahawks squashed. Craig just putting his hands over his eyes, and Norm Johnson, I'm sure, remembering especially that second field goal that kissed off the upright and dropped in front of the goalpost.
Well, that smile of Walton tells it all. And for Chuck Knox, back-to-back tough losses to absorb. A overtime field goal loss 13-10 at Denver last week, and he's going to lose by a field goal as the Jets rally for 17 points in the second half to win at 17-14.
The pain. That's the part that hurts so much. And you know that in Craig's own mind, he's going over the plays that he missed on this day. He's not remembering the good passes he threw, just the ones that didn't go the way he wanted them to go.
This will do it. O'Brien kneels, and with it, the clock will run out. From 14-0 down, Ken O'Brien and the New York Jets rally to win it 17-14. And the Jets are alone atop the AFC East. At the halfway mark, the Jets a game in front of Miami and New England, tied for second. Indianapolis and Buffalo follow. So the Jets, a team that went 1-7 in the second half last year. Remember, they were 6-2 at the start last season, and then fell apart in the second half.
And Dick, how much different they look in this game than they did in the first game that we saw, where they were crushed so badly by the Raiders. They bounced back, and I think that's the sign of a fine team, the ability to come back from defeat. They came back, they went 5 in a row. They dropped again last week without McNeil, but they bounced right back today in a game that could have forced them to give up, perhaps. They got the bad breaks in the first half. They wouldn't falter. They came back here in the second half and showed us their mettle.
Now Seattle might come back and argue. You talk about bad breaks. How about losing our top runner, Kurt Warner?
There's no question that
and by Canon.